What's good, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Golden 83, and I am here to do a random monthly manifestation, doing random pulls out of the singing bowl. Remember, you guys, these are general messages, not personal, so take what resonates and pass the rest to the next, okay? Um, I'm gonna mix in a little bit of there's some residual August energy. Um, so I'm gonna add that in because I was trying to get some of these in before August ended, but that didn't really happen. Gemini's is already out. Um, but just a little summary with I noticed that new moons are falling more so towards the end of the month so far. August 23rd was a new moon, and then September 21st is the new moon for this month, dealing with International Day of Peace, and it's going to be a partial solar eclipse on that day. Um, the universe is calling for new habits, change, or new opportunities and ideas. Okay. The full moons have been occurring at the beginning of each month. So the full moon in August was on the 9th, and September's is on the 7th, which is a full corn moon, a peak time to harvest corn or peel back the layers around your solar plexus, the root of creativity and joy. For some, it could be marking the completion of an old phase to welcome in the new. I believe there's a lunar eclipse on the 7th as well. But just like corn, there is about to be a wild growth of abundance in multiple forms, self wealth being the most important, with other areas of your life expanding for the good if you follow the signs that Spirit shows you. So that includes you may feel an energy shift, like reflecting before you act, or maybe reflecting on things of the past. A sense of peace, learning to just walk away, picking and choosing our battles, and learning lessons from the past. You find yourself slowing down more in maybe epiphanies in rest or through dreams. Okay. I myself have found epiphanies in watching, just watching television, reading a book, listening to music, which is another outlet for some that I definitely like to do when I need to just release. For this one, I'm not going to talk about the last year's energy because for some reason, depending on what sign we pull for, is not going to really resonate with you guys. So I'm not going to talk about that part. We're going to go ahead and pick from the singing bowl to see who is next in the lineup for monthly manifestations. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I have one in my hand. I was going to drop it. But Spirit said go ahead and keep going with it. So the next sign is Capricorn. Okay? Capricorn, you guys are next. So let me get y'all's placement card. And so Capricorn, this reading is for you. Okay? So if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're familiar, if you've been here for a minute and you've seen some of the monthly manifestations, these are primarily, you already know, to help you achieve whatever your goals are going forward. Whatever it is, it could be material, it could be personal growth, but these are garnered towards the phases of the new moon, more so or less through Yasmin Boland's Moonology deck. I'm sorry, y'all, I gotta close my door. So, um, you could find these to be very helpful in the sense of just giving you some motivation throughout the month. Okay, so we're going to pull 3 cards from the top, bottom, and middle. I'm going to shuffle 3 times. I'm going to cut by 3s. Consider the new moon placement, the first quarter moon, which is the progress point in which you should be making some strides in whatever your goal is you're trying to achieve. And then come full moon is the completion phase of your plans. Okay, now you don't have to necessarily speed through the process. It all depends on what the situation is of what it is you're trying to achieve, and it's just to give you some motivation and determination along the way based off of the moon phases. Okay, so new moon is more so or less getting new ideas. I find that I always end up getting new ideas around the new moon. Okay, that's just me. Others, it may be the reverse, especially the way the moon phases have been going as of lately, that it's closer to the full moon now than the new moon. Your new moon may have changed to another branch of responsibility with the goal that you're trying to achieve. Maybe something new comes up from what you've completed, and so it's kind of reversing in a way, if that makes sense. So Capricorn, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to pull 1 from the top, new moon energy, 1 from the bottom, which is first quarter moon energy. First quarter moon is on the 29th, I believe, of September. And then I'm going to pull 1 energetically from the middle for your full moon. And then we'll look at the bottom of the deck to see what the overall outcome is for these moon phases for your energy. Okay? And we'll clarify with the general writer's weight. Okay? So these readings are very in-depth. Okay? So, if you want, you can pause it, go get you some popcorn or something. Maybe write some, important things down as it pertains to what your goals are or what you're trying to achieve. Okay? But definitely very in-depth. So let's get started. What should be the mindset towards your intentions or goals in September, Capricorn? And we have, it's time to take action. Okay, it's time to take action. Aries energy is here. Okay, I feel the word passion, like what drives you as far as that inner fire within you, that maybe you've been hesitant towards something or procrastination possibly, and so it's time for you in the new moon, okay, which again is going to fall on the 21st, which is a Sunday, okay, which again is International Peace Day. And then on another important date is on the 30th, which is the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, okay, which I believe is a Canadian holiday. So if you're from Canada, welcome. But if not, I still, in my own way, like to celebrate that day, which I do that every day anyway. But nonetheless, it's time for you to take action, Capricorn. Okay, whatever it is that you've been procrastinating on, maybe it's been kind of simmering in your mind as of lately. And so it's time to either, write out a plan or actually get moving. Okay, so let's see what's going on in the first quarter moon energy, in the sense of will or have you made any progress by the first quarter moon. And here we have, what do you need to release? Okay, what do you need to release? So your goal may be intertwined with some healing, and I can't believe I thought I put it face down, but we already have the overall outcome on the side here. Um, we'll get to that in a moment. But obviously, something you need to release, Capricorn. Okay, something that is possibly holding you back. Could it be your inner circle? More so or less those that are immediately close to you, that you need to release something with. Maybe I'm not feeling, I want to say reconciliation, but I'm not feeling that. It's something else that needs to be released. Maybe it has to be dealing with time, spending too much time with certain people. You need to draw back because it's making you push other things that are of higher importance to the side, possibly. And so maybe it's time management, and starting to prioritize better. But there's also some emotional tide there. Okay. I get this, like, I'm hearing something in the sense of a get together, possibly, or there's always this need for a get together, and it's like you can afford to miss a few of them. Okay. That being said, let's get into the full moon energy. Has or is the intention or goal being achieved? Okay. And that is by the next full moon. Okay. So believe in the impossible. Okay. Believe in the impossible. I feel like there's going to be a lot of reflection for Capricorn, in the sense of maybe the reason why you've been procrastinating is because you have, your faith is not as high as it should be within yourself, and your capabilities. Again, it's this feeling of whatever it is that you're working on, Capricorn. You know how you can have an idea and it sounds good, but you don't do the research. But it feels like you kind of know a few steps that need to be taken, and maybe because you know how in depth the research is or what it's going to take is what's made you procrastinate. Okay, so I know that sounds weird, but it's like, how, again, I'm a Taurus, so I'm your fellow earth sign. I'm going to associate almost everything with food. Just about. And I had breakfast this morning, so it's not like I'm hungry, okay? But, you know how because I do this sometimes, and it all depends on energy level. So if your energy level is low, you're not going to put most effort into something. So I can see a recipe and I can be like, ooh, that really looks good. I would love to try that. But there's so many steps to it, I don't feel like it. It's how I kind of approach baking. Like, I don't do heavy baking. I'm more of like cooking. I gotta really be in the mood to bake. Like, it's been years since I made cinnamon rolls from scratch. And so it's a process. With baking, you have to be precise. You know, you can't just say a little bit of this and a little bit of that and think it's going to come out good. If you don't put a leveling agent in, whatever you're baking is not going to rise. So with me, my energy level, I have to be completely 100% clear to, you know, actually want to knead the dough and do all the correct measurements and things like that. So just to say that could be where you are, Capricorn, not in pertaining to food, but whatever this situation is that you're working on. It could be a business venture. It could be just a personal goal as far as like materialistic, as far as trying to obtain something. Um, Through a lot of these readings, I've more so or less felt the energy of trying to get a house or something about getting a car. It could be a trip that you're trying to go on. Anything anything like that, but it's something very significant to you that you are trying to obtain, and whatever it is, it involves maybe a lot of paperwork, or just maybe dealing with someone that you don't really want to deal with. um, it's something there, but it feels very deep and very hidden, okay, to a specific person. All right. So, again, whatever the case may be, if you feel like sharing, you can drop it in the comments. If you resonate, feel free to give a like. But nonetheless, the overall outcome towards this energy, Capricorn, is a new start is coming. Okay? A new start is coming. So, something may transpire in your everyday life that encourages you to say, okay, and maybe it could be this reading, to encourage you to say, let's get a move on and get this done. Okay? The quicker you can actually get started on it, the better the outcome. Okay? Feel that belief in yourself to be able to do whatever it is that you need to do. You know what you need, or will find out what you need to release come the first quarter moon, if not already. That could, if it's about saving for something, then it's some of these, you know, extra outings with friends and stuff like that needs to get cut back because it is taking away from your personal goals. Okay, so we're going to clarify this energy with the Rider's Waite. We do have 3 of Pentacles and the Magician. Okay, so that's kind of a hint towards this reading. Okay, 3 of Pentacles is talking about rebuilding and possibly, like I said, saving. In a way, you do have, you know, people around you, and I do feel like if you let people know to a certain degree why you're not able to is because you're trying to, you know, do something, they will support you. Okay, so you have the Magician here, meaning taking the time to manifest what it is that you want. That's the reason for this reading being the monthly manifestations. You have the Magician here and the Queen of Cups. Okay, some days you may find yourself feeling a little down. Okay, in the sense of you, especially if, you know, your friends or inner circle are doing something really major and you want to participate, but, you know, you hold your feelings in, the Queen of Cups being here and the Magician still here. You know that you need to do this. It is necessary because you truly can't stop thinking about it. It's something that you've been meaning to do. Okay, you can't keep putting it off. All right, and so you then have the High Priestess and the Magician. Okay, using your discernment. Okay, with this High Priestess, you know what's going to transpire or what's going to happen if you don't get this done. Okay, and this almost feels like deja vu in a way, like this happened before or came to pass in one of your previous readings, Capricorn. I'm not sure, because it's been so long since I've done, it's been a year since I've done monthly manifestations. And so I do feel like with you manifesting, using your discernment of knowing when and where to participate in certain things, and the benefit of staying on task, for being able to accomplish and get to this new start. Okay. Who knows that with what you decide to do as far as this saving and this new determination could motivate those in your inner circle to do the same. They can commend you for it, and once they see what it is that you are trying to achieve, they will definitely, support you for it, okay, and admire you for it. All right. So, one from the top for new moon energy, one from the bottom for first quarter moon energy, and one energetically from the middle for full moon energy. Okay. And then we'll turn this over to see the overall outcome that will clarify this new start. Okay. So let's see what's clarifying this new moon energy of it's time to take action. And it's the 10 of Pentacles. Okay. 10 of Pentacles. So obviously this could be something that is about generational wealth, possibly, setting up for your children, your children's children. I don't want to tie it to anything major happening. I think you're just trying to be on the safe side. I feel as though, even with myself, I'm 42. And you start kind of thinking about, where you want to go in your life, retirement, things like that. All of those things start becoming a little bit more prominent. We put it to the side. You don't think about it in your 20s. You don't think about it fresh out of high school. You don't even really consider it as much until maybe like your mid 30s or something. Okay. Or unless something major happens, or you see something major happen with someone else that kind of prompts you to do it for yourself. Okay. So hopefully, you're in a position where maybe you have a very substantial career, possibly, or you're just starting to see that you should try and create some kind of career for yourself where there's, a pension, a 401k, life insurance, things like that. Okay. Because that is a part of life, it's a part of adulthood. And so it is something that you want to consider. Okay. I would probably say, if I would have considered it more so or less, I may have started thinking about it more so as a career, or trying to have a career, when I was like in my late 20s. Like at 27, 28 years old, I knew I wanted to do something a little bit more lucrative that was going to actually bring in some substantial income. Okay. And so when you start getting older and progressing, you start thinking about these things. Now, it's all fine and good to be living life and enjoying yourself, but do you have a nest egg? Do you have just a savings for a just in case situation? Okay. If you don't, that's probably something that you're considering now. Okay. To always have, an emergency fund of some sort to rely upon as need be. Okay. Such as, even if you have a job that does have some form of, fringe benefits, like a medical flex account, which is for medical emergencies, or just for paying co-pays for your doctor instead of it always coming directly out of your paycheck. You could have a certain amount go into this particular funding, where when you go to the doctor, you put in your claim, it pulls from that fund instead of you having to come out the pocket right then and there. If you have to have a small procedure done, you can use it for that. So finding a job that, that's just an example of, things that could actually benefit you in the long run. And then you can include your family on that plan. So that way, if you have to take your child, your daughter, to the doctor, you can pay the copay with those funds. So just read the fine print, when you're signing up for something like that. Okay. Now, let's see what's going on in the first quarter moon energy, where it pertains to what do you need to release, is being clarified by the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so we've seen Pentacles come up from the shuffle, beginning of the shuffle with Three of Pentacles, then jumping to 10, and now reducing to 5. Okay, so it's not a walking away type of thing, but feeling kind of left out in the cold. Okay, as you can see, there is snow with this card here with the what do you need to release, and it's snowing here. Okay, so hints of winter. All right, where technically, if you yourself don't think to pull yourself out of things now, then it's going to happen around winter time. Usually around winter, no one's really trying to do anything. I feel like with as hot as the summer has been, we could have a warm winter, but I feel like a cold winter is more so or less on our heels to come eventually. And so a lot of times nature is going to do it for you. It might be icy where you are. That's going to keep you from really being able to do things. And again, the Five of Pentacles is usually talking about feeling left out in the cold on a lot of stuff. Now, some of you may just temporarily be left out in the cold, because then no one's going to actually contact you about doing some of the things. If they're still, out and about, it could be about Christmas. You may not be able to do very much for the Christmas holiday. And you're going to have to be okay with that if you're trying to, save some funds for around that time of year. Okay. Some people, of course, are going to be waiting or looking forward to tax time, more so or less, and that's when spring starts slowly coming back up again. But seeing winter in two of your primary first cards, and now with this 5, is going to also promote change in seasons, behaviors, routines, things like that. Okay, which are things that necessarily need to be released anyway. For the full moon, we have believe in the impossible being clarified by the Hermit. Okay, Virgo energy. All right, you got all of your earth sign energy. Pentacles are usually associated with earth. I'm a Taurus, giving you this reading, Capricorn, and now here we got Virgo. Okay, so you're going to be spending a lot of time, in reflection to yourself. The Hermit is about isolation, and go figure, it's kind of facing this 5 of Pentacles. So with this Lantern, and so it makes me feel as though, someone is going to be, either you are going to be looking, on to those that you've had to leave out in the cold, and you may see some things that you don't like, or it could be vice versa. If you are a religious type, you probably feel as though God is leading you in a way to this change, or asking God to show you what needs to change, and it's been in front of you the whole time, and part of it is the isolation. Okay, either you will self-isolate, or the universe or God is going to provide some form of change to where you might be forced to. Okay, Now, the overall outcome, this new start, is being clarified by the Empress. Okay? Now, if you've been watching tarot long enough, some will say the Empress is always the sign of more so or less motherly energy, Mother Nature herself, Mother Gaia. You could feel there's a pregnancy there, possibly. And that is what's going to stop a lot if you do find yourself getting pregnant, possibly during the wintertime, or right before winter. And so if there's any consumption of alcohol, that's going to need to stop. Any vices that you're consuming are going to have to stop. And a change of your diet, all of that stuff. For others, it could be the birth of an idea, or the rebirth, as far as a new start is coming, of you yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically, all these things that need to change. Okay. And so, which is a good thing. All right. It's not a bad thing. The only way you could assume that it's bad is because you don't want to actually do it. And it's sometimes hard to let go of old habits. As the saying goes, old habits die hard. But a new start is maybe something that you yourself subconsciously know that you've needed, but just been procrastinating towards it. Okay? So, with that being said, let's get into what is the message of support to achieve or manifest for you, Capricorn. Okay? What is the message of support to achieve or manifest for Capricorn? If anything jumps out, we'll take it. If anything turns over, that will also be your card as well. If nothing comes out for the moment, then we'll actually cut the deck and we'll pick directly from the bottom. I almost felt a turnover. What is the message of support? I'm going to take those that kind of stuck in my hand. Okay? Let's see what you have here, because it's a lot. It's about, we have 4 cards that got stuck in my hand. So, we have the Star. Okay? The Star. That says, the silver energy of the star brings good luck and serendipity. The silver energy of the star brings good luck and serendipity. I'm going to put that over here with the 10 of Pentacles, okay? I feel as though, of course, with the Pentacles, there is a star in the middle of it. And so there will be good fortune, or as long as you are staying with that energy for you and your loved ones, okay? The next, happy love, okay? Happy love. A joyful, stable partnership and good friends, okay? A joyful, stable partnership and good friends. So also kind of sliding these over just a bit to stay underneath this 10 of Pentacles and kind of merging into this 5. Again, whoever drops off, there could be some people that drop off on their own, Capricorn. You won't have to do anything, okay? Kind of weeding out the energy of good or bad energy, or just those that just need to be released. All right, you will be left with that in which are truly there for you. Okay. Next we have water. Okay, water element sign here. Work with the element of water for healing, purification, and refinement. Okay, I drink water at least every day. Anytime I drink something sweet, I follow it with water. But if you're somewhat on a health kick. Make it not just about health, but truly cleansing and purifying yourself by drinking more water. Okay, obviously, in dealing with a pregnancy or again a diet or routine shift, start implementing water more so. Okay, definitely need good hydration, especially if you may have experienced any kind of heat exhaustion or dehydration during this hot summer that everyone's been having. It's definitely the time to really should have been, but if not, start now to get more water in. Fiery magic, okay? Fiery magic, which says respectfully work with the fairies and elements to achieve your goals. Respectfully work with the fairies and elements to achieve your goals. All right. So that is right up underneath the hermit. Okay. And remember, we saw the magician, which means manifesting for yourself and really hunkering down and focusing on your financial wealth, spiritual wealth, or well being is more important than anything right now. Okay. Um, Otherwise, you may feel like you're in kind of like a rude awakening, like I said, with energetic shifts happening. You will start realizing and seeing signs through communications with people, really finding yourself listening to what someone is saying to you and how it makes you feel. And it may start making you question if their connection with you is real. Okay? So, pay close attention, Capricorn. The signs are right in front of you. Okay? Let's get into your present self and your higher self. Using the elemental deck here to ask the question, what is the energy of the present self of Capricorn? What is the energy of the present self of Capricorn? I normally just do 3, but we're going to do 1 more. Spirit says we need to. Okay. And we're going directly to the bottom of the deck. Expansion north. Okay, expansion north. 1 being the number on this card. Okay, this is all about you expanding yourself to a higher level of being, and we're going to get into that with the next deck that taps more so into your higher self. But it is time for you to expand and potentially explore new things, new horizons, all in positivity. Okay, you do have silence and snow underneath. Okay, I just wanted to mention that. That's number 34 equaling 7 to have the strength to power through during the silence. Okay, it's going to be very weird for you, Capricorn, because you're pretty much can be somewhat extroverted or more so or less introverted. For some, you're introverted, but you have the ability to be extroverted. I cannot think of the omnivert, I think, more so or less. But isolation is going to feel different to you, okay? But if you're pregnant, your hormones are going to be kind of raging a little bit. You might find yourself up and down, okay? But you're going to come out of it, in a new light, in a new way, in a better version of you, okay? Be guided, but do your research. Focus and honesty is needed to overcome obstacles. You know, you know, you know your true north. So be brave about the next steps. We may have a number of purposes in life, not just a single one. It is the time for true adventure. Okay? The North has connotations around finding our true essence or pathway. It can even be a referral to finding a person who gives our life meaning. Finding our true north indicates we have found a profoundly right path in a direction that is authentic for us. So strongly is north seen as a guiding direction. It is the one used to indicate direction on maps, usually with a single arrow. Okay, so I'm going to associate this north and expansion with that hermit card, more so or less because you possibly will find yourself, expanding in complete silence and solitude. Okay, what is the potential energy for the higher self of Capricorn? What is the potential energy for the higher self of Capricorn? And I may go back into the elemental deck and read that snow for you as a bonus. Capricorns. Because I feel like someone is going to want to know what that snow meaning is. Okay, so we'll go into that. And just so that way I can remind myself, I'll go ahead and I'll put that to the side. And one more shuffle on what is the potential energy for the higher self of Capricorn. We're going to cut the deck and obviously go directly to the bottom of the deck. And I'll read that passage for you guys as well. And then we'll go back to snow. All right. You have the law of divinity. The law of divinity, which says within you is the same source that created the entire universe. Within you is the same source that created the entire universe. Very profound message there. I'm going to go to page 15. And it says, you are divinity in disguise, a god and goddess pretending to be asleep. By drawing this card, your higher self desires for you to stop playing the fool, okay? That means those who are around you, like it said in expansion, you know what it is that you need to release, okay? And it doesn't have to be abrupt. It can be very compassionate, okay? Very not being very brass or argumentative, just being very truthful and honest with your words, Capricorn, okay? Let go of anyone or anything that is bringing you down. It is time you awaken to the actuality of who you are, a divine, all-powerful spiritual being. You will receive a sign within the next 24 hours from the universe of your greatness. It is time for you to rise and shine. You are a genius, okay? So, again, not to speak, highly, don't be conceited, okay? This is not the universe telling you to be conceited. This is the universe telling you not to be a fool for anyone, okay? And only you know, and we'll see if any other energy comes out, if I do any other readings, like maybe a right here and now possibly. followed by maybe an empower me, um, where some additional energy may come out pertaining to your reading. Okay, but it is very clear that the biggest thing is you needing to release. Okay, there is something that you need to release, or people or things that need to be released. Okay, so I'm going to read Snow for you guys to wrap up your reading. Okay, and it says, silence, Snow. Allow yourself to soften. Don't speak just for the sake of it. You do not need to issue an opinion on everything. Choose your words carefully. Sometimes observing is the best way to gain information and trust. Silentium in Latin means be quiet. Okay? When someone is talking, and let's say you get this overwhelming feeling that you need to listen attentively, not in the sense of initial reaction, okay? Such as if someone's gossiping about someone. You know the saying of, if someone's gossiping about someone to you, what could they be saying about you to someone else? They could be going directly to that person and saying something about you that you are unaware of, or you will find out about months, maybe even years later, and possibly during the time that you end up releasing them. Okay? And then in finding that out, you will find yourself truly having an epiphany moment of their departure out of your life was necessary, because they weren't being truthful friends or allies to you. Okay, so there's a power in silence and waiting and observing. Okay, you could have been observing someone for a very long time in the sense of their actions towards you, and wondering, why the two of you are connected in any kind of way. But when you start seeing yourself slowly releasing them, not being available because there is something more important going on, and you start seeing you have these positive shifts in your life, and that person, not saying that they have a downfall, but you'll start seeing them act differently towards you. Okay, and I'm hearing the season of fall. Okay, not only will they fall off, but it's coming in the fall, and by winter things are going to shift. Okay, so I think that's all that I have for you guys right now, Capricorn. Hopefully, it helps. I know you may want me to be able to speak on what it is that you're working on, but it's possibly that you're pregnant. Okay, for some of you, someone's either pregnant, physically pregnant, or coming up with new ideas, and or learning more about yourself and realizing that certain people can't go along with you on the journey. But monthly manifestations are just that, of being silent and moving in silence. So universe will only allow me to speak on things as need be when it comes to these readings. The other readings, they're a little bit more open with. But to protect your energy, this is all that I can leave you with. Okay? So with that being said, I will see y'all in your next reading. Peace.